Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make these enchiladas suizas. As you can tell, I made some enchiladas out of the corn tortilla, and then these ones right here are out of the flour tortillas. Alright, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put our chicken breasts to cook. I ended up only using 3 chicken breasts and some onion, and I put it into a pot to boil. Alright, as you can tell, I'm going to start to put the chicken into the pot so it can start to cook and boil. I added the onion, and then I'm going to be adding some garlic salt. I usually add garlic with my chicken, but I didn't have any at the time, so I always substitute with the garlic salt, and it's pretty much the same thing. I also added some chicken bouillon or consomme. I honestly don't really measure anything. I just eyeball everything, but for this one, I like to measure it into the lid. As you can tell here, I'm pouring a little bit into the lid. There's a line in the lid that I just kind of eyeball and measure that, and then I'm going to go ahead and put that into the chicken also. Okay, so the chicken typically takes about an hour to cook, so I'm going to be leaving it for an hour. While the chicken is cooking, I'm going to get started on the green salsa for the enchiladas. What I have are 7 jalapenos, 6 tomatillos, and a piece of onion. I'm going to put them into a pot or pan, whatever. Fill it up with water and let those cook for a little bit. All right, so the chicken is ready, and I reserved some of the chicken broth that I'm going to be using for the salsa. All right, I want to show you guys a trick. I think I've showed you guys before if you've watched some of my other videos. Since the chicken is kind of hot, sometimes I like to wait for it to cool down, but for this one, I just kind of wanted to shred it right away. So I use 2 forks and I just kind of start tearing it apart, and that is how I like to shred my chicken. Okay, so now that the chicken is shredded, I'm going to be adding some cheese to it. Some people like to add sour cream or cream of chicken into it, but I didn't have any at the time, so I didn't add any. The jalapenos and the tomatillos are almost ready, but not quite yet. So this is the kind of cheese that I like to add into the chicken. I honestly love using the Mexican blend on almost everything. What I like to do is I like to just stir it into the chicken, the shredded chicken. You can also add a little bit of salt and pepper if you feel like your chicken needs a little bit more. I know that the chicken breast tends to be a little dry, but I mean, you can use whatever chicken you want to use, but this is what I like to use. So there you have it. I prepared it, ready for the enchiladas. So I'm going to cover it up, put it to the side, and start making my green salsa. Okay, so the jalapenos and the tomatillos are ready. So I'm gonna go ahead and put them into the blender so I could start making the salsa. I'm gonna put all the jalapenos and all of the tomatillos and the onion, and then I'm going to be putting the chicken broth that I had reserved and I had put to the side from the chicken. I'm going to be putting it into the blender as well. I'm going to be adding a little bit of cilantro, and then I'm going to also be pouring in my chicken broth that I had told you. You probably want to add just a little bit of salt, but not too much, because we had already added the chicken bouillon and salt into the chicken earlier, so you don't want it to be too salty. I'm also going to be adding some garlic salt because I didn't have any garlic. And I'm going to blend everything together. Okay, so this is what the green salsa looks like, but we're not done. The final step to making these enchiladas suizas is adding a block of the cream cheese. I first started off with like half of the cream cheese, but then I decided to just add the whole thing because I don't know, I just felt like I needed all of it. So as you could tell, I thought I was going to add half of it, but I ended up using the whole block of cream cheese. And after I added the cream cheese, this is the consistency. And now we're ready to make our enchiladas. Alright, so I used these tortillas. I used flour and corn tortillas. I got these at Walmart, so if you're thinking, where did she buy them? I got them at Walmart. I'm going to be adding a little bit of oil into a pan, and I'm going to be dipping, or not dipping, but putting my tortilla into the pan and just kind of frying it a little bit. Probably like, honestly, maybe like 15 to 20 seconds on each side. Flip, and then you take it out and set it to the side. And you gotta do it to every tortilla. So yes, very time consuming. but this will make your enchiladas very, very yummy. You don't have to dip them into the oil if you don't want to. If you just want to go ahead and make them like that, you can. But this also helps and like kind of prevents the enchiladas to stick to each other when you put the green salsa and put them into the pan. The enchiladas won't stick to each other. So you can or cannot do this step, whatever. Just make sure that you don't fry them all the way until they get super hard. You can tell that mine still looks soft. All right, so now I'm going to be doing the same thing, but with the corn tortillas. And again, it's just a little bit, like honestly, like 15-20 seconds on both sides. You flip them and then just kind of stack them to the side. Okay, so now we're ready to make our enchiladas. The first thing you want to do is just put a little bit of the salsa on the bottom of your pan, because if you don't do this step, they're probably going to stick to the bottom of your pan. Maybe not, just depends on your pan. Anyways, I like to add just a little bit of salsa at the bottom, and then I'm going to get my tortilla and I'm going to put some of the chicken into the tortilla and I'm going to roll it up just kind of like a burrito. I'll show you here real quick what I'm talking about. You put a little bit of chicken, roll it up just like a burrito, and then you put it into the pan. When you're making or rolling your enchiladas and placing them into the pan, you gotta make sure that the seam is towards the bottom, just like this. I ended up making about 8 flour enchiladas, and now we're going to start making the corn enchiladas. It's exactly the same thing. I'm going to be putting some of the sauce into the pan, and then I'm going to be rolling our enchiladas and putting them into the pan also. Okay, so then we added some of the enchilada sauce onto the corn enchiladas. And now we are ready to put some cheese on top of the enchiladas, and then we're going to be sticking them into the oven for about 15 to 20 minutes on 350 degrees. Alright guys, this is what the enchiladas look like after being in the oven for 15 to 20 minutes on 350 degrees. Again, guys, thank you for watching my video. If you're new here, make sure that you subscribe and click on the bell so that you get notified every time that I post a video. And also, comment down below, what kind of recipes would you like for me to make? All right? So thank you so much for watching, and bye-bye.